Let's talk Justin Steele, Seiya Suzuki, and a lot more coming up next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. We are your team every day. I'm Sam Olber. I'm a lifelong fan, taking my passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Later in the show, we're going to talk some spring training news and notes, do a player preview with Seiya Suzuki, but we start with talking about Justin Steele. And if you guys noticed, once a week, I'm solo, and sometimes being solo can get a little bit lonely, can get a little bit tough. The show is always better when Matt's here, but if Matt couldn't be here and we were going to talk about Justin Steele, why not just bring on the man himself, Justin Steele, to come on for a little segment? How's that for a transition? I'm like Spielberg.
You're an absolute natural. How you doing, Sam? Thanks for having me, man.
No. Thank you for coming on. I believe this is number 4. Who knows? I mean, you're going to be back on the mound relatively soon, so could be the last time we have you for a while because I'm told not to bother athletes in the middle of their season. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I mean, we got an update the other day. What was it, Saturday? You were on for like 2-3 innings. I mean, it was we got a lot, but how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I got another bullpen tomorrow, 35 pitches, introducing the changeup. It's going to be my first up down, so I'm going 20 pitches, kind of like a simulated first inning, and then I'm doing 15 pitches. I'm going to sit down for like 5 minutes and then do another 15 pitches afterwards. It's mainly four seams, sinkers, and sliders. Like I said, I'm introducing the changeup tomorrow. And then since I'm introducing the changeup, I'll start playing catch with my curveball again and then slowly move that into my bullpens as well. So that's kind of the progression we've been heading towards. We'll continue to build the volume, more pitches, kind of get it to the point where I'm doing like 3 up downs, and then I can kind of start facing hitters at that point. But yeah, everything's going really well.
Now, forgive me if I'm losing my mind, but when I heard you on Saturday talk with JD about introducing your curveball and now a changeup, I mean, that isn't part of your regular repertoire that we're used to, right?
I mean, I've thrown a changeup and a curveball before I threw a slider, honestly. I didn't start throwing my slider until 2020. It was the alt site is when I introduced a slider to my repertoire. So curveball was like my out pitch or my breaking ball that I would use to get outs. So the curveball and the changeup were there before the slider, but the slider is very similar to how I throw my four seam. It's very similar release. I'm just a little more on the side of the ball. And the other pitches are not a lot different than my four seam fastball, but with curveball, instead of being behind the ball like a slider here, four seam there, the curveball, you're like completely on the side. And then same thing with the changeup, you're kind of throwing it with like the emphasis of the middle finger being the power you're using. So,
but when you were rolling in 23 and 24, you were mostly,
four seam slider. I'm like 60% four seam, 30% slider, and then the other 10 is changeups and curveballs.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. And when you throw the slider, right, we've always talked about on the show, like there's 2 different versions of it. Is the loopy one, is that more of a curve or is that still the slider?
No, it's still a slider. I'm just more so like aiming it, trying to place it. It's usually a little bit slower, a little bit loopier. It's usually I'm trying to backdoor it to a righty just to steal a strike. It's usually earlier in the count. If I'm throwing it like 0-2 and it lands out there, it's probably a mistake. If it's 0-2, I'm usually aiming for the back foot. That's the one that's usually sharper, a little more dartier, starts middle, breaks to the back foot late. And then, the one where I'm backdooring it, trying to steal a strike, I'm looking at like where a lefty's hands would be, and I'm starting it there, letting it break back into the zone.
Do you feel like your mindset now that you're with all the guys again, and even though you're not actually out there yet facing hitters in spring training, you're still competing, essentially doing bullpens and with yourself? Are you starting to get that mindset shifted back to it's go time here pretty soon?
Yeah, I feel like I never lost that competitive edge or whatever. Like I feel like I still have it in my day to day, whatever I'm doing. Like the bullpens I'm throwing, I feel like it's still bullpens like right before I go out and pitch in a game. I still get upset with myself if I'm not locating well, if things aren't moving to how I want them to. So that the competitive drive and edge is definitely still there within the work that I'm doing now. And then, by the time I'm facing hitters, facing, live game action, I'm hoping, everything else starts to come fruition as far as like velocity and stuff goes.
I don't think there's anything in my life that I've been asked more consistently than starting right around the new year. Hey, man, do you know when Steele's coming back? Hey, get a DM. Hey, any news? Hey, guys, just because he comes on the show, I don't know. I don't think he knows. Okay. So, but yeah, man, I think everybody's excited. It feels like there's a buzz around the team. It feels like there's a buzz around you specifically. Here's the question I'd love for you to answer. I think it'd be great for our listeners. It's great time for it. And then I got some good trivia stuff for you that you'll like. Like, explain to me and the listeners what an approach is for a spring training outing for a starting pitcher, for a veteran starting pitcher like a you or a Jamo. Like maybe the day you get roughed up, but you have a day where you're just going, I'm just going to throw four seams today. That's what I want to work on. I really don't care what the result is. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, spring training is if you're someone that's established, you're not trying to make the team or anything like that. You're going into these outings and there's something specific that you're working on. And then sometimes there's not. Like sometimes, you go through a week, your bullpen goes well, there's nothing to really work on. You just go out and compete and dominate and try and get ready for the season. And then there's other times where like almost every single spring training, I'm trying to hone in my changeup more. So I'm throwing more changeups during spring training than I would in normal outings. And I mean, when somebody's working on something, they're obviously going to be more susceptible to like giving up runs, giving up hits, walks. Because if I'm trying to get my changeup honed in, I throw it, 2 or 3 times where I would normally throw a fastball. Chances are 2 out of the 3 are balls or whatever the case may be. The count flips, and next thing you know, you give up a 4 spot or something. So that there's definitely a different mentality going into certain outings during spring training. Now, if it's probably the last outing of spring, you're probably trying to go out there and get ready, like straight compete mode. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah, I just think, because we're the media world, we're in the world of, all right, like, did you see so-and-so's outing? So-and-so's at bat. And it's like I'm with you. Like if you're trying to make the team, it's a little different, but I really, and I mean this with respect because of establishment, whatever Jamison Tyone does or Matthew Boyd does or whatever they do when the games don't count, I don't care. I really don't.
And I feel that. Yeah.
All right. I think before trivia, I think that's it. That's really it. I got some good stuff for you. I want to line some stuff up. By the way, congratulations to you on this very show. I went back and listened when you told me you were coming on. You said you actually think the Bears are really good and they'll go as far as Caleb takes them, and he took them pretty far. So Nice job by you. I really didn't think the Bears were good. So hand up on that.
Are they? I've been seeing them in the news lately. Are they going to Indiana? Or are we just moving the goalposts so all sounds a little bit better?
When you come on the show, it's good vibes only, and it will continue to be good vibes only. I went on a rant. What was it for? I think it was last week about the whole Indiana thing. And can you imagine if the Cubs moved to Indiana? I don't even think I would have a show. I really don't.
That's so far out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to name you 4 pitchers. Except I'm not going to name you. I'm going to give you some statistics. They're all lefties. There's your hint. I'm going to give you their career numbers. You're going to try and guess them. Okay.
Okay.
And we're going to get to a theme, and we're going to get to a point here. Okay.
Okay.
I'll give you some hints because I don't even like I wouldn't be able to get these. Like you need a little more information than what I have. Pitcher number 1. All these guys are either recently retired or all 3 of them are recently retired, and then 1 is active.
Okay.
Pitcher number 1, 251 wins, 161 losses. He has a career 3.74 ERA. He pitched 19 years in the major leagues, famously with the Yankees in Cleveland.
CC Sabathia?
That's correct. Okay.
Yes.
3.74 career ERA. Remember that, folks. Pitcher number 2. 200 wins, 117 losses, career ERA of 3.66, 16 years pitched, famously as somebody that you've been compared to a lot because of the uniform you wear.
Um,
And when I say uniform, not number, but team.
what do you have the teams he played for?
Uh,
Obviously the Cubs.
Cubs, Red Sox, A's.
It's John Lester.
That's John Lester. Remember, folks, 3.66 earned run average. Okay. Pitcher number 3, 163 career wins, which was a little low when I looked at this, that I thought lower than I thought. 122 losses, career ERA of 3.43, 15 years pitched. He shares your number, and he pitched for the Phillies, the Cubs.
Cole Hamels.
Yeah, and I'm missing a team in there. Cole Hamels. Okay, so we have CC Sabathia, John Lester, Cole Hamels. 3 of the very elite lefties of my time, of our time.
Grew up watching all of them.
Me as well. Pitcher number 4, 32 wins, 22 losses, 3.30 career ERA, 5 years pitched. Do you know who that is?
That is me.
That's you. So the point I'm trying to make is this. I mean, yes, you've got a long way to go. We got to get you back on the mound. We got to get you healthy. But I just named 3. Sabathia's in the Hall of Fame, right? He just got in,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Lester eventually probably will get in. Hamels probably won't, but Cole Hamels, excellent pitcher.
In my eyes, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's a different goalpost now because of arms, and no one's throwing all these innings and striking out 300 billion guys. It's just different.
Yeah, totally.
And your ERA right now sits career-wise lower than all those guys. So that's my reminder to you. That's my reminder to everybody out there watching that we're getting a really good pitcher coming back. Might take some time, whatever it is, but it's been a pleasure so far. 22, 23, 24, and I can't wait to see what 26 brings, man.
I appreciate that, and I just know if you take the outings from against the Pirates and the Reds out of my career, it could be even better.
We would do a Kershaw. We do a Kershaw comp. That would be our next time. I really can't wait to watch him pitch at the WBC. By the way, are you going to watch that?
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that. Obviously, we got a lot of teammates playing in it and stuff, so I'm looking forward to watching them, and I think it's going to be super entertaining as well.
Always a pleasure. Justin Steele coming up next. I'll be back solo talking about Seiya Suzuki, previewing his season. Justin, thank you very much, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. How cool was that, guys? Seiya Suzuki coming up next. This episode is brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. For a limited time, you could have your taxes done by a local TurboTax tax expert for just $150 all in if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. Just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. We are back here on Locked On Cubs, and baseball's back, and you can lock in by joining the Everydayer Club, which gets you ad-free episodes. For the next week or so, you can use code SPRING, S-P-R-I-N-G, for a free month. Go to lockedoncubs.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes. Seiya Suzuki player preview. Going to be a short one. Why? Because we know what we're going to say. We know about Seiya, right? He has been solid as a Chicago Cub. There's no question about it. OPS over 800. Always flashes times where he looks like arguably the best hitter on the team and one of the 10, 15 best hitters in baseball. The problem with Seiya, we say this all the time, we say this with pretty much every hitter on the Cubs, is just the consistency. Can he get to that next level? He's good. His numbers are good. What would take him from good to great? More consistency, less volatility. Last year, he slashed 245, 326, 478. Not a great slash line. Not bad, not great. Pretty good. But 32 home runs, 103 RBIs, outstanding. Outstanding. If you were to give me 32 and 103 again, I'm taking that all day. With Seiya last year, he was more aggressive early in the count, and that brought him more power. That brought him more RBIs. That brought him more success, pull side, all that good stuff. What he sacrificed was some OBP. And unless your name's Aaron Judge, unless your name's Juan Soto, unless your name's Shohei Ohtani, every time you make an adjustment in baseball, it seems like you sacrifice something. And what you're searching for is that happy medium, that perfect blend of selective aggressiveness. Maybe the ABS system will help him out because we know he's always the victim of some poor calls, especially with 2 strikes on the outer half of the plate. Will Craig trust him to be one of the challenge guys, to, tap the top of his head, get a challenge in? That could really help his confidence, help his knowledge of the strike zone, because he's as good of a candidate as anybody to take the next step. The numbers that I just read to you, 245, 326, 478, 32, and 103, there's another level in there. Last year, Pete went to another level the first half of the season. Michael Busch jumped up a level for most of the season. Carson Kelly jumped up 5 levels in terms of projections and expectations. Can Seiya Suzuki find that happy medium and jump up a level? I don't know. I think at this point in his career, he is what he is. I thought this was an interesting quote he had with Jesse Rogers. This was talking about on his future as he enters the last years of his contract. Quote, "I'm not sure. Depends on my performance. If I perform well, I want to stay. I feel like I still haven't put up the numbers that people are expecting me to. It comes down to how I perform." I thought that was, really legit, really good quote, and really true, right? There's another level. There's another level in Seiya. And we say that because he's very talented. And if he achieves that other level, if he could take that next step, the Cubs might take that next step. But we'll have to see what happens. To show you guys what I'm talking about with Seiya, why it feels like he's good, but not great. Let me read you the month by month, okay? Listen very carefully to the month by month last year, because I think it really summarizes kind of what Seiya is as a hitter, okay? In April, he hit 321 with a 1.045 OPS, outstanding MVP type numbers, right? In April, everyone that's as good as him is going to have a hot month, right? Next month, 259 with an 879 OPS, still very, very solid, still very, very solid. Okay. Then we get into June, 747 OPS. Okay. Fine. July, 728 OPS. Okay, so that's now 2 consecutive months where he's just kind of okay. Okay. August, 690 OPS. So that's 3 consecutive months where Seiya Suzuki is either okay or below average, right? Then he got really hot at the end of September. If you guys remember that stretch against the Mets and Cardinals, had an 812 OPS, and then he had a good postseason with an 863 OPS. The point I'm trying to make is if you're going to be an elite hitter, you can't have 3 months where you're average or below average. You can have 1 month where you're bad, right? You could have 1 month where you're average, but then the other 4 months, man, you got to be elite. It's really hard to be elite. And so when you look at his month by month numbers last year, it reads the way it felt. Every year, it feels like there's just a long stretch of the summer where Seiya is just kind of there, right? He's just kind of there. I remember in 2023, it was so long that he got benched by David Ross and then came back, and the tail end of the season was their best hitter. Can he find a way to be more consistent? Can he take that 3-month stretch of being average to below average and make it like a month and a half? If he does that, that's how you take the next step. Now, I'm not a hitting coach. I'm not a professional baseball player. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what he needs to do. I'm just telling you, as it reads, as you watch Seiya, that's the problem. He just has too long of stretches where he's just okay or less than okay. I think for him, it's just going to be trying to find that perfect blend of selective aggressiveness, right? When do you take the walk? There's times where I see Seiya 2-0-3-1 where he predetermines his swings and tries to be aggressive. Find that medium, just like Pete's looking for, just like any major league hitter is looking for, to find that perfect blend, that perfect medium for success. And he has it in him, right? He's one of the very few players in the world that, like, he has it in him. He can be a guy that just, spits on breaking balls, doesn't fish, gets the pitch he wants, and hits it 450 feet. He has the ability to do it. He believes that he hasn't performed up to standard so far as a Chicago Cub, and his career OPS, I don't have it in front of me, but I'll pull it up right now. I think his career OPS is 818, right? And he believes that he hasn't performed up to expectations, and I believe that too. And that's a compliment to him, right? 818 OPS, and he doesn't feel like he's been good enough because it hasn't been consistent enough, and everybody knows, nobody knows more than him that there's another level in there offensively. And I've said publicly on air, I've given up trying to find it because he's been here now long enough. This is year 5, but it's there. And I'll take the 32 and 103 all day. It's a good season. He was really good in the playoffs last year, hit some huge home runs. If we can get the 245 and make it 270, 265, if we can take the 326 and make it 350 while still, hitting 35, ish home runs, now you're talking about a guy that's a top 7, top 8, top 9 MVP sort of situation. And that's what we're hoping Seiya Suzuki can become. Speaking of MVP, our MVP, Pete Crow-Armstrong, had some awesome quotes in an awesome article on Chicago Magazine. We're going to talk about that and some spring training stuff coming up next. This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Indeed sponsor jobs, workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, there is a job for sponsor jobs. Indeed sponsored jobs help you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, locations, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And the listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsor job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about it, Indeed, on this podcast, Locked On Cubs. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs, the #1 Cubs podcast out there. So excited to bring you guys baseball coverage. We're, 29 days away from opening day, something like that. It's getting to be that time of year where it's awesome, right? It's like having a companion and something for 6 straight months, baseball. And this is going to be a good baseball team. And it's going to be led by Pete Crow-Armstrong. I want to share you guys some quotes. I'm going to put the link to this article, Chicago Magazine article by Wayne Drez. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I think Wayne was one of the guys behind the the Catching Hell documentary with Steve Bartman, and covered the Bartman thing pretty extensively. I could be wrong on that, but I know he has Cubs connections, and this article is unbelievable. Really cool stuff. Really well done. I'll put the link to it in the description. Chicago Magazine. I pulled 2 quotes from there. I don't want to pull too much. I don't want to spoil the article. But here's one quote from Pete. quote, I'm going to have to bleep out some stuff, but quote, I've made it clear I want to be here for as long as they want me. I want what's best for the team. I'm cool with being under team control and being here. League minimum ain't too bad. I play the game because I like beating other people. The money will be life-changing regardless. I'd like to get a fair deal so I don't mess the market up. I want to look out for the other center fielders who have to go through the same process, which is why I'm glad Cubs management, my agents, are figuring out how to do that, end quote. I mean, how do you not love this guy, man? I mean, this is our center fielder. The Cubs got to lock this guy up. They got to lock this guy up, okay? And I know that sometimes I overreact to quotes and things like that, but this guy, I mean, if I had Pete Crow-Armstrong's speed and talent and ability, I mean, this is how I would be. There's so much more in the article. I have one more quote I'm going to share with you, but there's so much him talking about when he gets hard on himself and it's not, the expectations he has for himself and he's working on things. It's just, I don't understand how you don't love this guy, man. He's the face of the franchise. He's the guy. He's the guy. He's a superstar personality. He's a superstar talent. And these quotes, they just fire me up. I mean, who says that? Just I'll worry about the money when it's there. I want to win. That's why I'm here. He had another quote to compliment us, the Cub fans. Quote, I love Chicago more and more. The people are great. They give a bleep. They aren't just baseball fans who go to the game like Dodger fans to take pictures and whatever. They're paying attention. They care, end quote. I love this guy, man. I've said it from day one. I've always fell in love with his personality, and now his play and his production is matching it. Special. Just a special guy. And the guy that the Chicago Cubs need to have. They need to have a franchise guy. They need to have a face. And it's been a while since they've had it, and they got it now. And I hope the performance matches the quotes, because he just seems like a really, really special human being. So that was awesome. Check that out. Some spring training updates. I'm actually recording this in the middle. We're like in the 5th or 6th of the game. The big headline from Tuesday afternoon when the Cubs were playing the San Diego Padres, Shohei Managa hit 94 miles an hour on his fastball. He threw 2 scoreless innings, struck out 1, gave up 3 hits. That's big news. That's big news. If he's going to be able to hit 94 and sit 92, 93, he's going to have a good season. That's mark it down. Mark it down. Assuming he has control of it and his walks are still, really low. If he's throwing 92, 93 and maxing 94, he's going to have a really good season. Now, this is his first start of the spring, his first start in a while where he feels completely healthy. So, who knows if it's, if it's sustainable, but I watched a little bit of the, I tracked a little bit of it. And when I saw the 94, I was like texting people. I was like, is this legit? Like, is the gun right? Like 94 on MLB, the tracker app or whatever. That's huge. That's huge. That's a big storyline. There's not a lot of big storylines that come out of spring training, but Shota hitting 94, really good sign. Michael Busch made his debut today, hit a double. So that's good to see. And, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward, but really fun episode. Thanks to Justin Steele for coming on as always. Maybe the nicest, coolest professional athlete I've ever dealt with. I haven't dealt with tons of them, but I've dealt with enough where I could compare. And, we're lucky to have him as a friend of the show. Pete Crow-Armstrong, man. Would love to get him on, Pete. I don't know if you listen to the show, but you and I have pretty similar philosophies. You can come on anytime. We can make that work. Really cool quotes. Can't wait to watch him in the WBC. And the one thing, by the way, I was going to say on the WBC, I kind of left that open when I was talking to Matt. I think it's an important tournament for Aaron Judge because he's never won a World Series. And when he did get to the World Series 2 years ago, he didn't perform that well, even though he was unbelievable in last year's postseason. And I just think it's a really good opportunity for his stardom and his brand to just be like Captain America for a couple of weeks and just have a really big series and lead the United States to a championship. I shouldn't say it's big for him, but I think it's a really good opportunity for him or whoever else, that has a really big series. Maybe it's Pete. You never know. But Matt and I will be back tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit. I want to hear what Matt has to say about these PCA quotes because this whole article was really, really fascinating. And then we'll get some more spring training stuff and go from there. Thank you for making Locked On Cubs your first listen of the day. For those of you on video, we send you to the 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. And on audio, make sure your second listen always is Locked On MLB solely is the absolute best over there.